அவன் கருணை மழையினில் நாமும் இரையாய் மாறக்கூடும். சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான், அவன் சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான். சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான், அவன் சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான், வந்து உதித்தான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான், வந்து உதித்தான். காக்கும் இறையே நட்பின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன், மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன். காக்கும் இறையே நட்பின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன், மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன். மலை போல் வரும் துயர் யாவையும் நொடிப்போதனில் பொடியாக்கிட புயலாய் வருவான், துணையென வருவான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான், வந்து உதித்தான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் நித்யானந்தா.
नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याधिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि.
Yes, Nithyanandam, all of you, we welcome you all to today's episode on Nithyananda TV. I am Sri Nithya Brahmasukhananda Maharaj, and we have with us again today Sri Nithya Rajananda Maharaj, Nithyanandam, co-hosting this event, today's episode. So our today's topic of discussion is something which is very, very talked about, very much discussed from all the way from the street up to the diplomatic levels, all the statesmen, everyone is talking about it. The fundamental aspect that we are bringing to you today is the bias inherent in the artificial intelligence algorithms and what it means for the war of civilizations that is happening, that we are witnessing all across the globe. And especially when we talk about the context of the Hindu civilization, what it entails for the Hindu civilization, the bias in the AI. So what do we really mean about the bias in the AI? Just to give you examples before we bring you in, Maharaj. For example, the entire social media today is getting more and more integrated with artificial intelligence, right? Our social media apps, all our websites and everything, even for writing the tweets or posts on Facebook, anything, whatever is concerned, the artificial intelligence is getting more and more integrated into it, which means that it can even do whatever job, posting, whatever we want to post, having the intelligence to do it based on whatever knowledge and intelligence it has accumulated. Now the problem is that the algorithms which are already there, on which the AI is trained, they are biased, right? They have an inherent civilizational bias in them. So what does it mean when the social media campaigns are running and when what people are consuming, when there is an inherent bias driving all those campaigns, driving all that material, driving all that content in the social media, naturally what people are consuming is also a biased narrative, a biased perspective of the whole world, right? So that's exactly what we are discussing today, Maharaj. So Maharaj, what do you have to say about this?
Yes, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has told in the recent
Yes.
presidential address to all of us that AI is the future. It is going to change the way the world works, and it's going to make many of the mundane jobs redundant. And projected statistics also say that around 300 million jobs will be displaced by
Wow.
the implementation of AI. That's a lot of people,
Exactly.
and a lot of people that need to find new jobs. And this is kind of an insecure kind of situation in the world also that we have been discussing.
Yes.
But the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says that we have to be able to look forward, and he has given a very life positive outlook onto the whole situation and given so much of powerfulness. And if anybody wants to see his message on artificial intelligence and the future with it, you can just check out in the YouTube channel, the SPH Nithyananda YouTube channel, and you get to see the recent presidential address on the Tamil New Year Day.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And there was also one very important thing that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shared. He made a statement that about the history and the geography, right? It is so important to take care of your own history before you can even think about your geography. And he made the statement, the nations, the countries, the people, the civilizations, which first take care of their history, they can even create geography, even if they don't have geography or even if they lost geography. But on the other hand, countries which don't take care of their history, what happens to them? They even lose the geography which they have already. That's a very big statement to make, right? The context was that many people are asking, they're curious about the location of MahaKailasa, where it is. He said, when that will be revealed, he will decide. But the main focus that he's really, what he's really focusing on is building the right narrative, taking care of the history before even mentioning the geography, before even talking about the geography. This is the whole natural question arises. What is this history? Where does this fit into this whatever narratives, and what is really going on in the world? Because what made him say this thing is that the whole world, as we have been discussing even lately, right, a new paradigm which we are entering, it's the whole identity of the people is going, they're aligning back to their root, they're aligning back to their civilizational identity, right? It's no more just the whole globalization and everyone has to follow their own norms. No, different countries, different cultures, they are regrouping, they are realigning, and the new alliances are getting formed which are based on the civilizational commonalities, not just trade and short-term gains and this and that. No, it's more on the identity rooted in their ancient past. Yes. Right? The new kind of a geopolitical situation is arising where even the warfare and all the conflicts we are seeing are more and more turning towards the civilizational aspect. The civilization is forming the more important, the more significant driving factor behind these wars and behind these conflicts. And even we can talk about what has already happened, right, in the world wars that we have seen, right? Even for the 2000 years, we have been fighting just wars and wars. Every year we've been fighting or preparing for a war. So much of violence. But one thing has changed. Now the warfare has become psychological. It's no more just territorial, right? It's the modern battlefield is not just on the ground. It's in the minds of the people. Yes. So where does this whole narrative, what role does the modern technology, what role does the artificial intelligence have in this new war of narrative, in the psychological warfare, which is happening all, even today, what we witness around us, right? And also, Maharaj, before the show, you were mentioning that there's a lot of parallel from Mahabharata, right? Yes. The story about this whole thing, how we can draw direct parallels from Mahabharata. Yes, you can share something about that? It is, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism tells us that the Mahabharata was the first world in war. In fact, the whole world was involved at that time. Every country at that time, that 5,000 years ago, the whole world was involved.
And the recent world wars have just a few countries were involved here, decided. That's it. Mostly the stronger countries, and the world decided to take sides. But in the Mahabharata, the representation was very diverse. All the nations were involved, and it was, in fact, the first world war, and it was done to protect the dharma, and it was done by it was the way that the whole thing was. Something that Bhagavan Sri Krishna wanted to prevent the whole time. He had every intention not to have to bring upon a world war. But unfortunately, adharma and the intentions and the cruel intentions on the opposite side, especially under the leadership of Duryodhana and Shukini, they had such malicious intentions to completely destroy all that is even sacred, using powerful weapons that could destroy the whole world and the whole Bhuloka as we know it. And that is why the purpose of Bhagavan Sri Krishna's incarnation was to prevent such devastation and protect the enlightenment possibility and keeping that science alive. That is what he is there for. That is why he happens, and that is the secrets that he reveals to Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita itself. So that was the first world war. That's what I was giving.
Because many people don't really know that Mahabharata was the first world war. What we have been taught is only the modern history, so to speak, and the two world wars have happened, and third world war, the possibility is there, probability is there. So the whole narrative. So let's see. What I observe as of now, you can tell me what you see in the Mahabharata as a parallel to that, right? When we talk about this modern warfare, what is happening, even many people being scared about the third world war possibility and all these things happening, the crux of the whole thing is that everything revolves around the mind games, right? Everything evolves around these strategies and the tactics which are more and more aligned, more and more centered on brainwashing, right? It's not direct combat and, just missiles, firing missiles and all that. No. It's more and more related to a concept of subversion, which means that you develop some strategies to brainwash the people and make them sabotage themselves so that you don't have to pick any weapon. That's what is happening, right? This whole psychological warfare is basically just that, how to subvert the enemy from within. So we have seen at the national level, it's happening, various levels it happens, even civilizational level it may happen, right? So, for example, using academia, using media, using all different aspects of the society, the civil society institutions, NGOs, all these things, different aspects, how to make them as tools to subvert the society, brainwash people and make them all the stakeholders take decisions which are against their whole main narrative of that civilization, right? So that is what subversion means. So you can tell me, did Mahabharata also have something similar to this, where is psychological warfare happening, subversion happening, or something like that?
Yeah, actually, the Mahabharata in itself has the powerful characters that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism continuously tells us that the Mahabharata could not have been something that the false narrative said is some kind of mythology. The Mahabharata was a real story, and it had such intricate details on the characters. And these three characters actually, as we are discussing, play a very just tells us that it is history repeating itself. That subversion is possible, as you said. It is at that time the same thing. The character of Shakuni, who was on the opposite side, he was absolutely cunning, and he had the ability to decide what, even the game of dice that he used to play, those dice were loaded. He decides what rolls. And then in that way, the opposite team will be thinking they're in control, their chances are in their hands. But no, everything is actually run by him. It's controlled by him. And he literally created the war. The whole purpose of his was he was not just against the Pandavas, he was against the Kauravas as well. He just did not want to have to he was on a vengeance against everything, and that is what anger drives, and that is what you can see is even some of the reasons why these world wars don't end. As we discussed, one war will end, but it's still latent in a form. The conflict is not resolved. It just comes back in another form, and it has come to being even nowadays psychological war. So Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says that the Mahabharata is like an ocean. It has 10,000 stories woven together, and it is in our scriptures. And it happens and it repeats again and again, just like how we take history as a warning to watch out for what is possible to happen again. Mahabharata is just like that. It is literally a mirror where you can see yourself and understand what it is that you need to adjust in your own life, in the life or in the progression of a nation or in the world today.
Yes.
So yes, as I said, Maharaj, Shakuni and submersion was definitely latent in his very way of manipulating even the Duryodhana, Duryodhana thought he was loyal, that Shakuni was loyal to him, but no, it was his very intention to destroy Bhishma. That was the intention of Shakuni, and in that way he wanted to destroy everything, and he had all the power and all the means to do it. Supreme Founder of Hinduism has said that also, that the intelligence and the only opponent to the level of intelligence that Krishna had in how much Krishna was doing life positive and protecting, to that level Shakuni was doing so much of destruction.
Exactly, because when you're talking about it, and when I'm comparing this with the what is happening in the world today, like Shakuni was just like a foreign element from the foreign land or foreign civilization or foreign country, whatever it is, who came in and slowly from inside destroyed everything. Slowly, step by step, brainwashing even the Kauravas, right? All the 100 brothers, brainwashing them against their brothers, basically against Dharma itself, completely changing their mindset altogether.
And the example of that is Bhishma. Bhishma is actually Maharati. He was the most formidable warrior at that time. Nobody could defeat him, and he was on Shakuni's side. And when at the end of the whole Mahabharata, when after he speaks the whole the verses on Vishnu Sahasranamam, he's asked by Draupadi. He's asked, why did you you are just telling all these things now? She's actually laughing, as you say, and he said, why you tell all these great things now? What happened to your all these great things when I was being disrobed in the court? Where did all these things? Why weren't they there? And he asks for forgiveness, and he says, at that time I ate the food of Duryodhana. My blood was having his ashraya dosha, that is what it's called, and because of that my mind was not able to even cognize these truths at that time. But that blood has left me now after the war, through Arjuna's arrows. The blood has literally left him, and in that he was waking up to the truth of how Krishna was really protecting the whole Vamsha at that time. So at that time, that is why he says, so that is actually, it is so latent, the Mahabharata story. It is so latent, the depth of submersion, the depth of manipulating someone.
It goes all the way down to your blood, right?
His
blood, it had to be removed. Only then his mind even again woke up to what is right and what is wrong. That's the level of, because even now you don't understand how deep these things can go, how deep this brainwashing can go.
Yes, actually, the how much the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is telling us again and again that the vegetarian diet is the most important diet, because it really affects the blood and the mind and the psychology and ability to just be swindled by emotions. Just because of a violent nature that the non-vegetarianism promotes. How can someone, even Tiruvalluvar asks, how can someone even comprehend compassion in his life if he's eating meat? Like that he asks, and then in that way, it's like the same kind of warning in these days. The way that we have to really learn to detox ourselves is really understand how the subversion techniques are used just to manipulate us into just our emotions, making us feel continuous need of sense gratification, or continuously in one emotion. They'll tie you to that. It binds you in these cycles. So the best way to just step off the grid is be vegetarian. That is literally one of the things that I just wanted to add to this discussion.
It's also called, I think, ashraya dosha, right? When you eat the food which is infected with the wrong thought currents. Right? That's what even the subversion can go to, that level. The wrong person who is having a wrong intention, right? He cooks and he prepares that food. Having that food itself, you will digest those very thought currents themselves. Because that's the science of Hinduism. We think these are all myths, these are all fantasies, but all this actually is true. It goes all the way to the level of food that we eat. It affects our thought currents. Whose food we are eating that person's karma. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has said that. So all these things, now let's put it back into the context of artificial intelligence, right? how the artificial intelligence can, and it has a potential and a possibility to become a very powerful tool of subversion also. Right.
Yes.
And before I continue, we also would invite all the viewers to post their opinions, their thoughts, their questions in the comments section in the chat window. We would like to, respond back to you and involve you into this discussion as we go along. So coming back to the topic, what all, let's say, for example, artificial intelligence, as I said earlier, it's a part of each and every aspect of our life, right? Even the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism put it, within 1 year, entire world will be taken over by artificial intelligence. So that means what? All our day-to-day activities will be done by AI. All our social media, how we communicate with people, it will also be taken over by the media, by the AI. I'm sorry. And also, the entire entertainment industry, the entire entertainment media, what all is fed into us, news and the government, from the government side, everything, basically each and everything, not just talking about the manufacturing and the industry and the corporate sector, they will of course be dominated by the artificial intelligence. But all the things which are psychological in nature, that's what I want to point out. From where we are consuming the thoughts, they will entirely be taken over by the artificial intelligence. So what happens? Because there is a fundamental bias. Because I was actually, to put it frankly, we are using many artificial intelligence tools, right, to for our day-to-day work, each and everything. I actually even asked one of their tools that, what do you think about the bias? Are you biased? Are you giving me biased answers? The tool actually said, no, I am not biased, but you should understand that the data that I'm trained on can be biased because the data is human in nature. It's based on human knowledge, right? So it will have those inherent biases. So what I'm doing is just reproducing them. And it said that, yeah, I'm trying my best to avoid and all that. But ultimately, the AI, the data on which the AI is trained, it will naturally have the same biases until you do something to neutralize it.
Yes.
Now, how do you do that is a separate topic, right? But what it entails for us as Hindus, right? Let's discuss that. The Hindu civilization, what it has gone through in the last 2000 years, the genocide, the Hindu Holocaust, how much of attacks, invasions, right, have been happening on the on Hindu population in the Hindu civilization. The next step, does it even stop? We have seen the wars and physical attacks have all over the world have reduced in number, but the violence has not. It changes its form into the psychological tactics. What we have seen now, there is a denial of the genocide, the denial of the Holocaust, and also on top of that, making the Hindus believe that something is wrong with them, their identity. That's why even the little attacks what happened had happened, right? So how, see, that's the whole narrative about Hinduism is not in the control of the Hindus, right? Already we have seen in the media, even when we talk about the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, personally in his life, so much of attacks he has gone through. A majority of that opinion from in the media is negative, just manufactured, blatant lies, right? When this gets fed into the AI will also reproduce the same.
Yes. And the unfortunate thing is we are not empowering ourselves with this knowledge. It is only when we are at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, when we are attending when we have a transformative experience of this knowledge, only then we will want to protect it. We will have the need to protect it. See, the thing is, we have this whole huge amount of knowledge in the Hindu civilization, but there is no guide. There is no way of making that an experiential understanding inside of us. And that is when the Guru plays the role. When Swamiji comes into our lives, he gives us the truths of the scriptures of Agamas and the Vedas as an experiential understanding, such that it is not that you will be mentally or intellectually convinced, yes, this is going to be the future, this is what we're going to do. You will understand the dire need of having to have the life positivity that Hinduism holds the world together with, and has always held the world together with. It was very much the Hindus' life positivity that even helped the Jewish, who had a lot of troubles in the thousands of years ago.
Yes.
They had to find a refuge inside the Hindu nations to protect themselves.
Yes,
And they always
true.
found that since that time that the Hindu nations always took care of all of the world's religions.
Exactly.
And in the same way, so much you can take the example of the Tibetan Buddhism and so many examples of religions that are just taken care, not digested, not swallowed up, just as you are, we'll take care of you.
Yes.
And that is a very Hindu thought. That is why we even call Hinduism as the mother of religions. This is the true story of Hinduism. This is the real empowerment of Hinduism is when we do the programs, the Paramashivoham programs, and we experientially understand the truth, we'll understand it is a utility value in our lives, that Hinduism has a utility value in our lives, and it is a dire need right now in today's time. And that is the narrative that we really need to have a discussion among ourselves, because when we have these discussions, of course, we will be having these discussions over the internet, over everything. And even recently, just today, in fact, I was able to come across a satsang by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism telling very clearly, it was the country that was built by Hindus in the recent time is actually the internet. He said very clearly, it was Hindus only who built the internet. It was in those tech companies of Microsoft, where a lot of the percentile is Hindu in origin, and especially coming from those who come from the gotras of rishis. Those people with that kind of a mindset have done so much of just building the internet. That means that they should, in fact, play a crucial role in claiming that the internet tells their narrative correctly. And that's even a conversation going on today, that Hindus should play a higher role in showing that, hey, we created this thing, we helped make it happen. It should protect where we came from, of course, because that is also what was able to give us the tools and the amount of intelligence and the very lifestyle of, even including vegetarianism, having these kind of lifestyle is what provides that intelligence to be able to create the internet. So then when all these things are understood, that we are able to create so much, that is why the Supreme Pontiff is go on giving us statistics on where Hindus are actually have successfully placed themselves on top of the world, but they're just very oblivious of it because of these false narratives. Just the whole idea of particular false narratives that just go on repeating. It's like a layer on top of a layer of another false layer of another false narrative. It is like the whole mapping of the false narratives that happened in one part of the world have to be continuously copy pasted on another part of the world, and the same problems have to be solved. Well, just because it is not like that. You don't have to, when you move from one country to the other to grow yourself, you don't have to bring your whole issues with you, your civilizational divide that never existed with you. So those are the conversations. So, and the point I'm trying to say is, unfortunately, we are working in a very divisional way still. And the Supreme Pontiff is bringing us to the awareness of this criminal negligence and telling us that attending to ourselves in this criminal negligence way, attending to all Hinduism as in this way, we'll just lose. We'll just lose so much. In fact, one of the examples he gives is a multidimensional example he gives is that when the Hindus, first generation of Hindus, have not inspired the next generation to take care that that generation does the proper shraddha and tarpanam to their ancestors, they will not be able to have the correct nutrition that is required to move on from their Pitruloka to the next part of their journey in their life towards enlightenment. If this Shraddham and Pindudarpanam is not maintained by the next generation, it is the first generation only who will suffer. And if they don't understand this multi-dimensional danger that is going to happen, they will set themselves up to just more and more karmic suffering.
Yeah, exactly. Because just so many angles to look at the same thing, same problem. That's wrong narrative again and again being pushed about Hinduism. Because once you lose control over your narrative, then where does it end, right? And especially, unfortunately, for Hindu, it's completely false narrative, shallow, not just shallow, actually. Even when we think about movies and cinema and what kind of a narrative about Hinduism is being portrayed, it's extremely sad the way the Hindus are being portrayed, and very subliminal messaging going on. It's not all the time very blatant, direct attack, or no, very subliminal, very subtle way, slowly diluting the very idea of Hinduism, making it more digestible by foreign ideologies, like other ideologies. So very subtle games are being played. That's why it becomes more and more important for Hindus to become more aware to how to detect these biases which are happening in the media, in entertainment, everywhere. That level of awareness, the consciousness will only rise with the help of the Guru's initiation. How else will it rise, right? Because Guru's initiation is the center, the core aspect of the Hindu narrative, right? With Guru's initiation only, your consciousness rises, your awareness rises. You're able to distinguish, even just by the way a person is speaking, is the narrative biased? Is he speaking the truth? What is happening? So we'll be able to detect the entire whatever is happening in the social media, everything, and consciously change it, consciously add to it, enrich it. That's what the Supreme Court of Hinduism also said, right? Hindus have the potential and the power to even contribute to the field of artificial intelligence. Yes, there are some biases, there are some problems. He mentioned again and again, this is not a sad news. This is not a bad news that artificial intelligence is going to take over the world. No, it is an opportunity for us to realize that now we have a chance to align back to our true purpose.
Yes.
Right. And by doing that, we will also be able to deal with all these anticipated problems of artificial intelligence, one of which we are talking about today, how the bias in the artificial intelligence can possibly create more problems in the war of civilizations. But we have a solution also, right? When we talk about the biases and how subversion can happen, we also have a solution. That is Hinduism. That is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. His initiation, it empowers us. And the way he talks about the Hindu history, the grand narrative of Hinduism that he's building, he's reviving on the planet Earth, it has the power to even enrich the artificial intelligence, to train it to speak the truth about Hinduism, so that others can consume the right narrative about Hinduism.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, but he did also mention that there will be some problems around what the AI can possibly do. In fact, if the AI is caught up by the anti-Hindus, it is even more problem, because it can also be programmed to do a lot of damage, especially with the Hindu brains who just get fogged up by anger and just are able to be very violent first. Those people can be easily manipulated by a particular generated propaganda slogan or propaganda information that can be mass spread by some kind of a media, and it can just become some kind of a problem in the world. That is also a way that it can be used.
It's actually a very big fear. I'll not name the thing, but very recently, a very important new, you can say, invention or discovery that happened in the field of AI. A new chatbot came into the picture, and it is so intelligent to give precise answers the way an actual human being talks. When it actually was released, the product was released, the entire tech industry collectively decided to take a kind of a gap of 6 months not to work on any such products, because they were so scared. What are the possibilities? What it really entails for the entire humanity? They actually, in so many articles I read, that they were actually anticipating that artificial intelligence, when it turns into super intelligence, super intelligent, this AI, it will even be able to create any kinds of narratives or anything that is fully manipulative and without even possibility of any detection. So that is what they have been anticipating. And in that context, when we talk about it, solution, right? What is the solution? First, becoming more and more conscious, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism puts it, aligning back to our true nature, giving the super conscious breakthrough to us, becoming more and more aware of what is going on, and especially when it comes to the Hindu narrative, learning what the Hindu narrative is, right? And then infusing the same Hindu narrative all over the internet, so that the AI can consume the right narrative.
Yes.
Right? So let's say, even to start with that, what is this grand Hindu narrative? Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Maharaj? What is the Hindu narrative, the true Hindu narrative?
The true Hindu narrative has the central understanding of absolute life positivity, and if that is something that that cannot be taken away from Hinduism at all, and it is the plus point of Hinduism since time immemorial, and it has been maintained by that way. Any time that adharma prevailed, that someone had decided to take advantage of the infrastructure that is created by Hinduism for their own purpose, there's that in that moment the enlightened consciousness happens, and it removes the adharma and establishes dharma again, the life positivity, that it is all for life. You should continuously work towards and in this AI can help so much in this life with if it's programmed with this life positivity. Everything that is told to tell, it is absolutely for life. It can give strategies and solutions endlessly, especially in the fields of medicine. Just because if medicine has the ability to be more life positive, we will have better health in the world. We will have absolutely no greed on the wealth that is used. The AI can literally be your doctor who makes sure you never have to go to the doctor again. That is kind of the best kind of doctor.
That's not what we have right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is not the narrative when it comes to the medical field. But when it comes to the grand narrative of Hinduism, at the center of it is the Guru Shishya Sampradaya, and helping someone find their Guru, helping someone even find the fundamental answers to the life's questions, and catering that to the way that people will understand. Literally, the AI can become your guru. It can literally be someone who's there for you, can give you the correct, polite, positive advice and prescribe to you the right way, and tell you to shut up and do and be obedient when you need to be obedient, and tell you to, hey, okay, come on, stand up today. This is your routine for yoga. Wake up for yoga. This is the possibilities that it can do for you if it is used as a life positive tool.
It's a very important point that you have mentioned, Maharaj. See, what you're really saying is who trains the AI ultimately is the most important thing, right? Is the current artificial intelligence trained by those whose main intention is to exploit you, manipulate you for their own greed or whatever? Or is it trained by the people who are enlightened, who are compassionate, who only want the best out of you, who are life positive? At the core, right? Who don't have any greed or something exploitative natures, who would want to manipulate you with triggering your emotions and triggering your weaknesses and this and that. No. If it is trained with the right narrative, the consciousness, AI can actually, even the AI can have a breakthrough. And that's exactly, I'm connecting it back to what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism said, right?
He said that.
Yes. When Hindus take control, when Hindus take the responsibility, which is in their very DNA, to give the superconscious breakthrough to themselves and to others, then they even will develop this potential to use whatever infrastructure we have, the best technology, which is artificial intelligence currently, right? To even give that technology a breakthrough and make it as a tool to enlighten people rather than to manipulate people. Yes, it can do all the mundane tasks, everything it can do. But why not give it the next level breakthrough? Make it as a tool to enlighten people as well. But that will only happen when we train this artificial intelligence with the correct narrative of Hinduism. Hinduism, which is the cosmic science itself. It is the science of superconscious breakthrough, right? So when we give the artificial intelligence the right training, and we'll discuss how to exactly do it, right? We're talking about right training. But what does it even mean? What should we do? What should a common Hindu do ultimately? Right? He doesn't have any control over all these artificial intelligence algorithms. Okay, maybe one way would be to make your own algorithm. It's not that easy. If you have funds, if you have resources, why not? Go for it. But if you don't, you still have a lot to do that you can do. For example, when we talk about the right narrative, first understanding and then simply contributing as much as possible, creating as much content as possible, and fully loading the internet with it.
Yes.
Because we know the artificial intelligence ultimately gets trained more and more on the internet. What is happening in the internet, what is happening in the social media, all these platforms of communication between people, right? Flooding these platforms with the right narrative, flooding these platforms with the authentic science of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, with the correct story of all the Hindus, all the kings and the incarnations, the right narrative, all the Puranas, how they are real, they are not just mythology. All these small aspects, when we actually talk, see, on one scale, we'll say, oh, no, I believe this is true, Hinduism is real, that's all. No. You have to create content on the internet. The AI has to know that it is real, right?
Yes.
So when we actually start building content, creating more and more content in any form, it can be simple articles, it can be blogs, it can be videos.
Yes.
It can be channels on various social media platforms.
It can be art, it can be music,
Exactly.
it can be literature, it can be just putting the whole Hindu narrative again in the way that people like to hear it today, like to understand it today. Maybe like the songs or the music, let it resonate with the life positive narrative of Hinduism. The same way, we are no way in any way Kailasa, and the Supreme Pontiff again and again continuously tells us that we are for modernization. That is even why he's telling AI is the future. We are for technology. We are for making it a tool that can help us and help the world to make a world a better place for all of us. And that is what we're for. So any way that we can be life positive with music, any way we can be life positive with art or literature, those are also fields that we can really help put that kind of content out there. It is a creative. It is not just a task of just
laborious. It's not like that. Yeah, whatever your profession is, you can make that simply just that profession into your life mission.
Yes.
Right. Bring it back to the authentic Shastra centric Hinduism, the true, because it's not something we just based on our opinion. I think this is the real Hinduism. Some other person may think that no, this my version of Hinduism is the real Hinduism. So how do we reconcile this divide, right? Only way is to go back to Shastras.
Yes.
Only way is to go back to the Shastra Pramana, the Apta Pramana, Atma Pramana of your Guru and the Sakshi Pramana. All these things, only they are, in fact, all these Pramanas themselves taking proof from these Pramanas is also a part of the actual Hindu narrative. How do you solve these divides when people have different opinions about anything? How do you really resolve these conflicts? Again, the Hindu Shastras themselves say, this is how you do it. First reference, take it back to the Shastras. What do the original scriptures say? What do the Vedas say? What do the Agamas say? Because they are the source scriptures, the Shruti, revealed directly by Paramashivam, right? Then the second level Pramana is the Apta Pramana. What have all the incarnations, all the rishis, all the great beings, enlightened beings, what is their personal experience on this thing and their opinion deriving out of that experience? What do they have to say on this? Then your own master, your own guru, when he gives his own Atma Pramana, that this is what I have personally experienced in my life also. And finally, your own experience. All these things put together only give legitimacy to whatever is the narrative of Hinduism. And that is exactly what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving. He's not reviving just some version or some opinion about Hinduism. He is reviving the original Hinduism, the original Sanatana Hindu Dharma as revealed by Paramashiva himself. And he is the current incarnation of Paramashiva, whose mission on planet Earth is to revive the same Hinduism, original, unadulterated, unapologetic Sanatana Hindu Dharma on planet Earth. And that's the whole mission through the creation of Kailasa. That's what he's doing.
Yes,
right.
And we have been successful, especially in Kailasa, turning over so much and tremendous amount of Hindu content from the hard copy to the digital platforms, creating and building so many digital infrastructures for Hindus to be able to find so many answers to their questions. It's taking them from the Shastras, taking them from the original scriptures. All those are all available on the Kailasa Jnanalaya websites, and also available on the Sarvajna Peetham websites, to be able to have access to all of this information and to just, as we just discussed, put that content out there for people. Just so you can take up anything, and there's so much to learn and so much to. And if you are interested in joining this effort, especially doing the work today and making the whole internet literally life positive, just like Hinduism, then you can join us, and you can take the chance to have the volunteer form. You can scan the QR code there at the bottom of the screen if you are interested in becoming a volunteer in Kailasa, and volunteer your time and talent and possibly even your treasure to be able to contribute to putting out all this content online, and even creating a lot of content and putting it out in many different platforms, many different ways, many creative ways. It's all just really exciting and fun just to see at the verge of the whole technological transformation happening back into the internet, and then we can really see how we can be creative, how we can have a beautiful future in this. And for those who want to take a higher jump, a higher possibility, the sannyas option is there.
Yes.
Living and dedicating your life to Hinduism. That is one of the biggest ways that you can contribute. And you can also scan the QR code if you're interested in taking sannyas. If you have any questions about sannyas, what is sannyas? What is the life that is dedicated to Hinduism? What does that mean? Or what does it mean that you need to leave? What does it mean that you can keep? All these kind of basic fundamental questions right there. Sign the intention form, scan the QR code. We will reach out to you and answer your questions and get back to you right away on how you can come and live the life of sannyas.
Yes, and as we have been speaking, when you get more and more involved, more and more start enriching and contributing to the world in all the possible ways, you become an instrument. You become an instrument of the superconscious energy of Paramashiva himself, of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, in reviving this or authentic Sanatana Hindu Dharma on planet Earth. And actually, you don't even have to worry. We don't even have to worry about the war of civilization. The whole thing will become redundant because the authentic, the consciousness will awaken even through the artificial intelligence. It will become a tool to awaken people's consciousness. They will not spend too much time on just, battling each other based on their identities and stuff, because they will have the power to go beyond all the identities. That's what the Hinduism, the core narrative of Hinduism really is, right? And if you want to experience this superconscious breakthrough in your own life, in experientially speaking, right? And then from that, take that further to contribute to more and more people. For that personal experience, we invite you to join the Paramashivoham Level 1 program. It's a completely free program being offered by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. In this, you will be taken on an amazing journey of self-discovery, self-awakening, and self-enlightenment, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will make you manifest the state, space, and powers, the very being and super consciousness of Paramashiva. How to live with complete unclutched mindset, which is not being affected by any thoughts, completely being unclutched from the thoughts, and how we form connections between our thoughts, building false identities, completely letting that go. Then working from the space of completion, purnatva, right? Not being affected by any past pains or incompletions or root patterns, not working out of any obsessive compulsive behavioral patterns, working from complete completion, and then manifesting powers. All the possibilities, great possibilities and powers await you if you take just one decision to sign up for the Paramashivoham Level 1 program, so which is a completely free program being offered by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
And it is a very exciting time to get to know the basics and get to know the fundamentals. As you were saying, Maharaj, you can heal. It is a beautiful healing, actually. And the tremendous presence and the life positivity of the Hindu ecosystem, of the enlightened ecosystem, you can really understand how it is possible for you to heal from all the pains in the past, heal and completely recover from all the baggage of bad relationships, and how to heal your relationships so that you don't create those messes again, and how to really attract the right kind of healing and safe environment that you want. And why are you yourself manifesting hostility and any kind of unsafe environment that you feel is happening around you? You can also recognize where it is that you have had a blind spot for all of this, and why it is that you yourself are manifesting all the things that are happening in your life. And of course, yourself are also manifesting all the good things happening in your life. And those are the things that we will be looking on, strengthening, and seeing how those parts of our identity are what we want to hold on to, and make and transmute those very things into powers, into so many different things. And this is a full program just on how to, from the ground up, build yourself again and come back to cognizing yourself as Paramashiva, and then manifesting Paramashiva himself in your life.
And once you manifest Paramashivatva in you, then nothing really can stop you. Nothing really seems like a impossibility for you. Everything is just a possibility. Even artificial intelligence, you will have the intelligence to even train the artificial intelligence and to solve all these problems, all the anticipated problems. Because that is the whole powerfulness, new kind of an awakening that happens, new life that happens inside you when you are initiated by the Nijavatar of Paramashivam, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. So with this,
Yes.
we are concluding today's segment. So we will now be moving to the next segment.
ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான் காக்கும் இறையே நட்பின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன் மலை போல் வரும் துயர் யாவையும் துடிப்போதினில் பொடியாக்கிட புயலாய் வருவான் துணையென வருவான் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான்
The nature of consciousness. The source of awareness. The relationship between our ego and the world. This has plagued us for generations. We strive to understand why we are the way we are. Why our reality is the way it is. Why our life is the way it is. But what if the way we see the world as separate from us is just an illusion? What if our consciousness exists before all experience and is not limited to the confines of our body and mind?
Today, what I revealed is practically the whole Hinduism in a nutshell. If you make the column, you will see clearly most of your problems are internal non-understanding. When these internal non-understandings are cleared, life becomes Leela. You just manifest what you want. I'll make this as a realization in you all now through this initiation and darshan of Sadashiva.
The nature of consciousness. The source of awareness. The relationship between our ego and the world. This has plagued us for generations. We strive to understand why we are the way we are. Why our reality is the way it is. Why our life is the way it is. But what if the way we see the world as separate from us is just an illusion? What if our consciousness exists before all experience and is not limited to the confines of our body and mind?
Today, what I revealed is practically the whole Hinduism in a nutshell. If you make the column, you will see clearly most of your problems are internal non-understanding. When these internal non-understandings are cleared, life becomes Leela. You just manifest what you want. I'll make this as a realization in you all now through this initiation and darshan of Sadashiva.
The nature of consciousness. The source of awareness. The relationship between our ego and the world. This has plagued us for generations. We strive to understand why we are the way we are, why our reality is the way it is, why our life is the way it is. But what if the way we see the world as separate from us is just an illusion? What if our consciousness exists before all experience and is not limited to the confines of our body and mind?
Today, what I revealed is practically the whole Hinduism in a nutshell. If you make the column, you will see clearly most of your problems are internal non-understanding. When these internal non-understandings are cleared, life becomes Leela. You just manifest what you want. I'll make this as a realization in you all now through this initiation and darshan of Sadashiva.
The nature of consciousness. The source of awareness. The relationship between our ego and the world. This has plagued us for generations. We strive to understand why we are the way we are, why our reality is the way it is, why our life is the way it is. But what if the way we see the world as separate from us is just an illusion? What if our consciousness exists before all experience and is not limited to the confines of our body and mind?
Today, what I revealed is practically the whole Hinduism in a nutshell. If you make the column, you will see clearly most of your problems are internal non-understanding. When these internal non-understandings are cleared, life becomes Leela. You just manifest what you want. I'll make this as a realization in you all now through this initiation and darshan of Sadashiva.
Yes. Nithyanandam, we welcome you back. Sorry for the technical glitch. So the next segment is the most awaited segment of Nithyananda Satsang, when we directly receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, his message, having his darshan, completely soaking ourselves into that experience. Just before that, we would like to also comment on the one of the viewers has commented, put a comment that we should speak on something, a program related to Vedagamas, and this viewer is saying that it may even be a tool, a bridge for people to connect with Swamiji, for those who may not seek a personal, an experiential understanding or a personal experience. So it's actually a very great idea. We'll definitely consider it and see what we can share, what we can do with this idea that you have given us. It's a very wonderful idea, and thank you so much for commenting or putting this comment out there. So again, as promised, we will now be leading to the next segment on Nithyananda Satsang. But before having the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, it's must that we prepare ourselves to come back to that space of listening, the space of receptivity and devotion, before we are ready to receive and have the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, who is the Nijavatara of Paramashiva himself on planet Earth right now. So let's now prepare ourselves. Sit with your head, neck, and spine in the straight line. Your body completely relaxed from head to toe. Carrying a deep feeling of devotion, restful awareness, and gratitude in your Ananda Gandha. Ananda Gandha is the space between your navel center and your heart center. It is the place where the consciousness and the matter, they meet. It is a point of meeting of your consciousness and your body, your matter, whatever constitutes your body. That is the place of Ananda Gandha. Just have a sense of deep devotion, gratitude, restful awareness, and unclutching in your Ananda Gandha. Visualize Paramashiva in his most glorious form, with bright golden light, with 25 heads, 50 hands, and 75 eyes. Visualize him in your third eye and chant the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, reverberating in your whole body, in your whole being, as we get ready to receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. So let's chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
The purpose of human existence is so elaborately well presented in Hindu traditions with such vast scriptures. I tell you, future of the humanity, especially after the artificial intelligence, please understand, this is the age of artificial intelligence. After this artificial intelligence and super intelligence, religions which can stand the scrutiny of the super intelligence only as future. I want all of you to know, Sanatana Hindu Dharma is capable, equipped, not only to stand the scrutiny of the artificial intelligence and super intelligence. Sanatana Hindu Dharma can contribute, add so much to the field of artificial intelligence and super intelligence. And one more thing. So many times people ask me, Swamiji, why all over the world the elite, intelligentsia, the intellectual community is turning towards Hinduism? Because Hinduism is built on intelligence. It is built on intelligence. Our first initiation into Hinduism for any child is not based on some beliefs. The Hindu baptizing methodology is not based on any beliefs. It just teaches you how to awaken your consciousness, intelligence. The first baptizing, Hindu baptizing initiation statement is Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Barho Devasya Dhimahi Diyoyona Prachodayat. I meditate on the highest intelligence which awakens my intelligence. I cognize the highest tejas which awakens my intelligence. So understand, Hindu tradition is founded on intelligence, thrives on intelligence, will lead the world towards this age of super intelligence to super consciousness. So understand, it is time humanity gets a breakthrough and enters into super consciousness. All over the world, recently I am seeing certain kind of a fear about this super intelligence, about this artificial intelligence and super intelligence, and where it may lead. I want the whole world to be assured and reassured. Don't worry. Hinduism has not only solution for the fears and problems you expect, you anticipate due to artificial intelligence and super intelligence. Hinduism can add powerful inputs to use artificial intelligence and super intelligence to give super conscious breakthrough to humanity. It is time human beings grow to the next level. It is time human beings need to have super conscious breakthrough. I feel, and I am very clear, Sanatana Hindu Dharma plus artificial intelligence and super intelligence is equivalent to super conscious breakthrough. So please understand, it is time people who are responsible for Sanatana Hindu Dharma, especially United States of KAILASA nation, we all participate in the research of artificial intelligence and super intelligence and take that research to the next level and use that intelligence to give super conscious breakthrough to the whole humanity.
Nithyananda, we are on a mission to revive the enlightenment civilization.
If you resonate with our message and want to be part of us, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon.
தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான் காக்கும் இறையே நட்டின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன் மலை போல் வரும் துயர் யாவையும் நொடிப்போதினில் பொடியாக்கிட புயலாய் வருவான், துணையென வருவான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான். கருவங்களை தடம் மாற்றிட வெடிப்பான், தலை தூக்கிடும் கருவங்களை தடம் மாற்றிட வெடிப்பான். பின் கருணை மழையாய் பொழிவான், தினம் கருணை மழையாய் பொழிவான். பின் கருணை மழையாய் பொழிவான், தினம் கருணை மழையாய் பொழிவான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான். எந்தன் மகிழ்வை தளர்த்திடச் செய்வான், நித்தின் மகிழ்வை தளர்த்திடச் செய்வான், எந்தன் மகிழ்வை தளர்த்திடச் செய்வான், நித்தின் மகிழ்வை தளர்த்திடச் செய்வான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்தோதித்தான் வந்தோதித்தான். அவன் கருணை மழையினில் நாமும் இரையாய் மாறக்கூடும். சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான், அவன் சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான், சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான், அவன் சரணம் அடைந்தால் அருள்வான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான் வந்து உதித்தான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தனும் வந்து உதித்தான் வந்து உதித்தான். காக்கும் இறையே நட்பின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன் மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன். காக்கும் இறையே நட்பின் உருவாய் வந்த களிப்பால் கட்டு கடங்கா மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன் மகிழ்வு கொண்டேன். மலை போல் வரும் துயர் யாவையும் நொடிப்போதினில் பொடியாக்கிட புயலாய் வருவான் துணையென வருவான். ஜென்ம ஜென்மமாய் செய்த தவமோ உற்ற நண்பனாய் நித்யானந்தன் வந்து உதித்தான் வந்து உதித்தான். ஜொலித்தது. பரமஹம்ச நித்யன் என்னும் பெயரும் பெற்றது. பரமஞான ஒளியில் குழந்தை ஜொலித்தது. பரமஹம்ச நித்யன் என்னும் பெயரும் பெற்றது. கருணை மலையில் அழகு கடவுள் அவதரித்தது. கருணை மலையில் அழகு கடவுள் அவதரித்தது. கடவுள் அவதரித்தது. கடவுள் அவதரித்தது. மழை